Edible Peace Patch Project encompasses what the youth needs here in St. Petersburg. It incorporates urban agriculture, which could one day translate into a job. It puts the idea that these kids can go to college, and these kids are all in Title I schools, so this is definitely something that's important to them.
The image behind me is a 15-acre urban sustainable farm that's going to grow enough food to serve 5,000 kids in 8 schools on the south side of St. Petersburg. They represent the most at-risk schools in the school district. They represent schools where we have a roughly 70% dropout rate among the boys, and we have nationally significant diabetes, obesity, and infant death. So our organization is designed to address those dropout rates and the diet-related health issues through what we kind of jokingly call a food system intervention. We are putting schoolyard gardens in all 8 of those schools, and in fact we have 7 of them done at this point. There's 1 more to go. And then in those gardens we do academic support. The kids come out and grow the food, but we're teaching them science and math and language arts. And we do food literacy, so we do a wellness kitchen. The kids harvest the food from the garden, they take it into a kitchen, and they learn how to prepare healthy recipes, and they learn what's healthy about it. So those kids will come out of those gardens, go to their cafeteria, and be able to select food that says Peace Patch Project on it. Nobody puts special projects in the schools that are most at risk. It ends up being parents in the good schools. And so let's just give this amenity to them. And we went out there and did that, and it was just supposed to be 3 weeks, and at the end of 3 weeks all my students wanted to stay, and they brought other students to the table, and they were suddenly less interested in growing organic food and more interested in these kids.
As a past volunteer, you form these relationships with these kids, and they remember your name and they hug you when you leave, and I just really think it's good to foster college education at such a young age, and the Edible Peace Patch definitely encompasses all the good values that we should support here in St. Petersburg.
I had them start building lessons that connected to the standards, so that the students that were coming out, the elementary students who were coming out to the garden, weren't just gardening, but they were getting educated, and they were doing experiential education connected to what they needed to learn. And because we're focusing on the kids, I think we all agree it's not the kids' fault. On the farm, we're going to be working with youth offenders, the kids who've dropped out of school and have gotten themselves into trouble, helping them get their GEDs and then training them in the green economy, urban sustainable agriculture, green energy, urban food systems generally speaking, and a host of sort of entrepreneurial skills, because we want to stimulate the sort of social capital economic development that attracts capital. So we want to try to address poverty by creating opportunities for reinvestment and skills for reinvestment in a neighborhood that has been underinvested in for the last 40, 50 years. This is happening in St. Petersburg, Florida, but we think we have a national project here. We think that this is replicable in urban neighborhoods around the country, and that we hope over the next decade to not only show that it can be done here and can really solve a significant part of the social crisis and build social capital, but that this can be an alternative in communities around the country.
It will have probably one of the greatest impacts that we will see. I believe that test scores will go up with the kids will graduate. I don't know the percentage of dropouts, but it's a high percentage, so this is them putting in reality that they're expected to go to school to move on with their college education, and economically we're investing in the community. We're creating a higher education where people can put back into our local community and create jobs and money that definitely our community needs, and I think the public school system kind of gets backhanded a little bit, and I believe this is one way that we can help and contribute to the greater good.
It's a social thing, and we have to work together to create it, and we need rituals that make that happen. And a garden education is a place where you can create those rituals, and so in a sense cultivate sustainable values within a community itself. That's the big meta thing that this is all about. How do you make a sustainable society, right? You need individuals who are going to behave in sustainable ways. How do you do that? Well, you cultivate that virtue in them themselves. So that's what I'm trying to do with my college students and these kids at the same time.
The Edible Peace Patch is just wonderful, and the people working in the organization
Kip is awesome. Alita is beautiful.
Yeah, they have good souls,
very passionate
right track.
people. They speak. You could just tell like how much they care.
Yeah,
it's phenomenal.